Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Expectations with me, Craig. Game week 27 this weekend, and we can't look to game week 27 without talking about the biggest double game week in 26. Yes, that's right. It started last week. It only ended a couple nights ago, and well, I was just speaking to the boys off there, and it's been a tiring week. I hope there are a lot of green arrows around. I'm sure some of the boys will have had green arrows. And when I talk about the boys, I am talking about the one and only stat man, FPL Mariner. Chris, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah, not too bad. Trying to keep grounded and calm and relaxed, but it just feels like it's never ending this season. I can't wait for an international break.
It does, yeah. And it just feels like one of the seasons where it's game after game after game. And I don't know the amount of research that you're doing. So you're constantly working throughout the week. You know, when games are going on, you need to put the stats in, the numbers. So I know you are absolutely exhausted. But we thank you for coming on the show. And we don't think it'll be a long one today, but we'll see. Also with me and Mariner is Sam. Sam, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. It's actually been a while since I come on this show, so yeah, good to be back.
Yes, it's great to have you back, and hopefully your connection doesn't run out on us halfway through the show, but it's all good so far.
That's going to be a running joke, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, constantly, every time you're on. But I haven't actually seen your team, so I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing your review of Double Game Week 26, which we'll get into straight away. Double game week 26, as I said, was the biggest double game week that we've ever had in FPL history. And yes, the planning that went into it, if you watched last week's show, it was a very long one. It was almost 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken. But was it worth it? We'll find out. Mariner, how did your team get on?
Yeah, I did all right. I was worried. I played my bench boost, and I was worried sick that what would happen is the 1 week that I decided to need my bench, it wouldn't perform. But it did perform. 32 points from my bench. So delighted with that. As I said about Fulham's game against Palace, that was probably as close to a slam dunk clean sheet as you could probably find this game week. And it was pretty much more certain than death and taxes, right? For me, I just couldn't see Palace scoring, and they didn't. And I was very impressed. That was a very nice start. Dean as well, 2 returns as well on the bench. Bamford was disappointing. Tosin scored an own goal, which cost me the monthly win on one of our mini leagues, unfortunately, which was a bit irritating. But he did take points off Son, so I'm not too worried about that because I didn't own Son at that time. But no, 108 points, -4, but only 2 goals and 1 assist in the entire side. And that really has rubber-stamped the fixture difficulty, which I've been talking about for some time. We are running now into a period of defence over attack, in my eyes, which is very noticeable this week. It looks to be like we want to be seriously thinking about our defences going forwards. What else can I say? Overall rank 5.4k.
A quick mention about DCL and his performance.
He's left my team.
Wow, there you go. And we'll find out later if it's for Rich Rolliston. But
I'll tell you why. Craig. He's looks like to be playing on the right of the diamond. I did mention last week in the show that I was thinking about Richarlison for Bamford. I didn't do it because of my deep hatred of Richarlison, quite frankly, which, this just shows that sometimes you need to bury the hatchet, because if I'd have done that, I'd have been talking about 120-something points. So Richarlison looks to me to be a better option than DCL at this moment, and that's one reason why he's left the team.
Okay, great stuff. So no regrets about the bench boost chip that you played. Overall, very happy with your points. What did you finish on, by the way?
108 points -4. So
108 points.
And
Green arrows for you. Are you ranked up to?
From 5.4 up from 11. So yeah. So I think something like what was it, 20 or 30 points? I think maybe 30 points behind the top 1K now. So
wow. Very much in the mix.
And 151 points off first place.
Wow. Well, I mean, if you think about it, you know, what is 11 game weeks to go?
No, don't go there. I'll tell you what my target is now, though. I don't mind sharing.
I'll tell you not to rule it out. That's what I'm going to tell you.
I know, I've ruled it out. I'll be honest with you, though. I'll tell you what my target is now.
Yeah.
My target is a 3-digit finish. That's my target now. So if I can break that 1,000, I'd be delighted with this season. I mean, look, it can go either way. I'm going to play it fairly carefully now. You might see my strategies changing a little bit. I might be a few more shield captains than sword captains going on in weeks to come. You know, I'll be looking at EO a bit more and things like that. But I'm still going to carry on playing my game. I'm not getting ahead of myself. But it's good fun. It's just tiring. I'm just knackered.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I've never been in that position, obviously, but when you're that high up, you know, you kind of look around what's around you a little bit more, and sometimes that can affect your decisions in terms of captaining, in terms of transfers coming in. But I think you've done really well with your own strategy. That's taking you up to that position this far. So keep going, Mariner. Do it for FPL expectations and then net the whole. Sam, we're going to come over to your team. Quickly, as I mentioned earlier, I haven't seen your team until now. 95 points for you with your bench boosts played. Happy with that, or slightly regretting some of the transfers that you made? Or should have?
Not quite. Let me explain. So technically, my 3 hits were Mesley out for Martinez. That worked out. Another hit was Adams out for Watkins. That worked out. The third one is the one which I'm kicking myself over. So I took out Sufal for Aina. I could have taken out for any other Fulham defender with him. Yeah. Any other Fulham defender I can afford, and it would have more points than him.
Yeah, so, I think that was it was one of those transfers where we also mentioned Aina. We were given a mention in our show last week, you know, and we felt, you know, he could be a real asset. No one could have possibly seen him being hauled off at halftime, to be fair to you. So yeah, that kind of backfired for you, but you got Stones. He came through with a big score. Shaw as well, you know, with 2 clean sheets, and just a captaincy, you know, placed it on Bruno. I see you got Son in your team.
It was either Bruno or Salah. So yeah. I mean, I was never actually considering Son for captaincy. It was either Bruno or Salah. So I guess it's a small victory.
Okay. Green arrows for you, obviously. So you're happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's my rank has been going up slightly over the last few weeks. When I first came onto the show, if I remember correctly, in my first episode, it was around 500, 600K. So yeah, definitely improve over the weeks.
And you're at what now?
392K. So 200K jump.
Nice. Perfect. So the only regret you have, obviously, was bringing Aina in. Played your bench boost, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any regrets in terms of playing that? I know I see you got a big haul from Martinez there, but obviously holding Aina, Bamford.
Yeah, and the thing is, right, Bamford, it's a single game where you have to take a chance. Aina, it was not a bad thought process. It was just a bad outcome. So you can't really kick yourself too much. You can kick yourself, but not too much. Holding, maybe, looking back at it, I could have taken him out, but I was hoping on the fact that he would have played. I knew he got a concussion like against Manchester City, but he did trouble midweek, so I was hoping he would play against Leicester and probably just sneak a point or so. But he didn't. Also, he plays on 29, so yeah, maybe in 29.
Yeah, and that's something that we all have to consider. Something that I considered as well when we looked at game week 26. 29 is there, so you got to kind of bear in mind not to take out too many assets that are playing in that game week, which brings us nicely to the next part of the segment, which is obviously our plans for double game week 27, should I say, and beyond. I say double game week 27 because there is a small double game week, isn't there? Not one which I think we're going to be too ambitious about and going too hard into it, because it's the double up is teams that are playing are Man City and Southampton. Now, I think nearly everyone has a triple City, just in some shape or form, whether it's two defenders, one midfielder, two midfielders, one defender, or even one defender, one midfielder, and a striker. But in terms of Southampton assets, not really going to go too heavy on them, Marin, are we?
No, everyone who's been telling me what do I do with Southampton assets, I've said sell them.
And you're not wrong. I mean, yeah, and Southampton
sell them
because they're a horrific run of form.
I mean, look, the only thing I would say is this: they do play. I think it's Sheffield United, one of the games, isn't it? So I mean, look, they've got a chance against that, but don't treat Southampton like a double game week. Treat it as a single game week.
Right,
just
treat it not taking anything out of City, are they?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be. It's a shame that the City Southampton game isn't first.
Yeah.
That would be much nicer for us double game week as to when we're thinking about who we're going to pick for our captaincy and even just rotation wise, because there's a horrible feeling that one or two players may play the harder game and then miss out in the other game, and of course that's the game where potentially we're going to want them. It's not straightforward. It's very complicated, I would say.
Yeah, it's very complicated because we've just come out of a double game week and we've seen the rotation in effect. We've seen the pet roulette. We've seen Gundogan struggle for, I wouldn't say struggle, but we saw him play a full game and then come on for about 5 minutes towards the end of another. We saw Stones getting dropped after scoring even. I'm not going to lie, he scored and I thought that's him set. They're not going to take out either Diaz or Stones. And what does he do? He goes and drops Stones.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do. He is set on rotation. And I think, to be honest, it plays into our advantage for Gundogan this week because he only played a few minutes. I think Gundogan may be one of only a couple of players, 2 or 3, who may, out of our assets, which we're looking at, may actually get the lion's share of the time. I think KDB may well do, but could rest the second.
He played 2, didn't he? He played.
He's fairly solid. When he's fit, he seems to play. And I think he'll certainly play against United. And I think he'll get a decent chunk probably against Southampton. And I think Diaz as well. He doesn't seem to be rotated the same as others, whereas players like Stones, Cancelo, and people like that. And interesting enough, they've got like little circles, haven't they, of who rotates with who. So you've just got to be careful you don't end up with both of them rotating off at the same time. It's so complicated these days. It really is. I've got to the point now where I don't even care anymore. If they're benched, I just laugh at it.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about what your plans are for 27 and beyond. Sam, we're going to come back to you with this. And what are you thinking going into 27? Bear in mind, when I say beyond, we are also having 29 blank game week 29 in mind when making transfers or planning. So shoot, what are you thinking?
Okay, so the one that I have on the screen at the moment is my 2019. So technically, I've got 2 midfielders, 2 forwards, 2 defenders, and a keeper. So the backbone is kind of there. All I need is another defender and probably a couple more midfielders, then I'm good. And I'll have 3 free transfers between 27 and 29. So initially I was thinking in 28, I'll take a defender out and then bring another defender in. I'll take one of the midfielders out and bring Lingard in, keep him on the bench, and then use him in 29. But something came out last night from Ancelotti saying something like they're focusing more of a diamond and DCL playing more of like a right center forward rather than as a poacher. So that's kind of leaning me towards Calvert-Lewin to Antonio. And roll the transfer in 28. I mean, he plays United in 20. He plays United in game week 28, but they can counter. We're going to leave space behind, and they're going to counter. Last time when they came to Old Trafford in the FA Cup, they parked the bus, but that was because they had no Antonio and no Lingard. Well, they're not going to have Lingard, but they're going to have Antonio, so that's good enough for them. So that will be one move. And then in 29, I'll probably take Salah off, bring Lingard in, and I'll probably take any of the three defenders off because Salah to Lingard will free up enough cash for me to buy a mansion. So that should be enough to afford another defender. So yeah, that is my plans. I'll go with 10 players. If I feel like it, I'll take a hit and bring another one in. So
yeah, I mean, we've done it before for double game week. We've gone out, we've taken up to a -8, to get players in. It shouldn't be any different for game week 29 when that comes around in terms of filling up gaps. But what do you think is the ideal number of players to have for that blank game week 29?
So there's only like 8 teams playing in 29. So I wouldn't go too crazy. 7 or 8. If you can afford 7 or 8 and cover somebody like a Son or a Kane, you should be fine. You should be fine. Yeah. Because you don't want to go -8 for like 11 players because technically most of the teams that are playing aren't very good, apart from probably Spurs and Aston Villa. So
which is why the prediction would have been so important for that game week because there are not a lot of assets that you really want to hold from 29 to 38. There's going to be a lot of chop and changing. You don't want to bring in assets and lose value on the ones that you already have as well. So for game week, bring you back to just this small double game week 27. The only change that you're making is Calvert-Lewin to Antonio. Yeah,
that will be the only change I'll make for 27.
Okay, and no hits, just that straightforward free transfer.
Just a transfer? Yeah, just that transfer. And also, caveat, I'm wildcarding game week 30. So, yeah, most of my focus is on 29. And then I'll lose most of the Fulham players and all that. And then even Pope on the bench is 5.5. I'll lose him as well. So, yeah. So that's a caveat within my planning.
In 30 or 31, Sam?
And I'm looking at 30 for now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I would look at 31 personally.
I've seen a lot of people looking at 31, but I just don't want to.
An ideal bench. If you've got your bench boost left, 30 might be ideal because if you've loaded up for the blank game week, the fixtures are super good for 30 for the same players. So, for example, Leeds play Sheffield United. So if you've loaded up on those, then 30 could be a really good week. And then Leeds, quite frankly, I think you confine them to the dustbin after 30. That's me. That's where I am. But interesting. It's interesting the plans. It's complicated times, Craig.
Yeah, it is. It is, and we're going to add to the complication a little bit more, Marina, when we talk about your team for game week 27. Same question that I posed to Sam. I'm going to pose to you. What are your transfers for 27, and how are you looking at 29?
Well, I've made 2 moves. I've took Harvey Barnes out for Son.
Yeah.
And I took DCL out for Antonio for a -4. As I mentioned about DCL already, it's a bit of a gamble because they do have a double game week at some stage, but I'm gambling on it not happening. The concern about DCL playing a little bit out on the wing is quite a big one. And I just think Antonio is a player that I need in my team. He's responsible for 50% of West Ham's non-penalty XG, roughly. If you look at it over the course of the season, because he's only played half the season. And I just think he's just a long-term hold. He's also playing Leeds. Obviously, we can't ignore the fact that Son, Kane, and the Trident now in Bale, did come up against a pretty inept Burnley side, but equally, whilst I expect Palace to be tougher, I do expect Spurs to beat them. So for that reason, again, Son now joining Kane, because I will not be captaining one of them. So that's a shield sort of move in a sense, but also preparation for 29. And I'm looking, so at the moment for 29, I've got Martinez, Son, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 7 at the moment. And I will be looking at bringing 1 or possibly 2 more in. No more than that. I genuinely think 29 is going to be a fairly low scoring affair.
While I've got your team up, obviously I can see you've got Bruno, you've got Salah. What's your take on both of them as assets? Now we've seen Bruno, obviously. We've seen Bruno, obviously, over the last few weeks. Not just Bruno, Man United in general. That attack, I'd love to see the XG on them, but that attack stats have just nosedived right off the cliff. And likewise with Salah as well, and Liverpool, really not performing, got hauled off around 60 minutes against Chelsea. There are rumours of a bit of a rift with Liverpool, with Klopp, with him asking for a move away. Are you still in the of the opinion to keep both of them? I mean, they're high-priced assets, or is it time to lose one or both of them?
It could be time to be losing both of them. I certainly will only have one of them by game week 29, almost certainly. I expect it's probably, I think at the moment it'll be Salah who will go, because I've got less value built up in him than I have Bruno. I also think that Bruno is the sort of player who, excuse my French, shithouses his way to points.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Salah at the moment looks a shell of the man that he was. Bruno was absolutely furious at the end of that game of the week. He stomped off down the tunnel. Yes, he looked knackered. Yes, he needs a rest. But quite frankly, I back him. If anybody is going to turn up and give Manchester City a run for the money, it's going to be Bruno, in my eyes. And of course, he could get a penalty. So for that reason, I'm not going to bench him. I'm going to play him. Somebody say, do I bench Bruno? I said, no, sell him. If you're going to bench him, sell him. That's my perspective of it. But Salah is basically now down to one game. If he doesn't perform, I think he'll be gone. Because I agree, I cannot keep that amount of money tied up in somebody who simply is not performing. I mean, do I just go to Jota? If I want to cover Liverpool, do I just do the same with what we've done with City and go for a cheaper option in midfield like we've done with Gundogan? So, do I go to Jota? There's Grealish going to be coming back. They're going to have double game weeks coming up. I'm going to have so much. I'm not going to know what to do with the money. That's the problem. We're going to have a skinny mid, as we mentioned on our show last night. Skinny mids. So we're going to have big butts somewhere, whether that's big butts at the back or big butts up front. But we're going to have a skinny mid.
Sam, I'm going to come to you with the same kind of question, because I know you own both of them as well. What are you planning to do? You plan to lose one of them? Are you planning to do what Mariner said and go for a cheaper option for Liverpool to cover that? Or, is it something you're not, is Liverpool a team that you're not even looking at?
Right now, I would keep Salah until 28 and then lose him in 29. And since I don't have any other Liverpool players, there's a good chance I will be without Liverpool. But on wildcard, I might go back for one of them because their fixtures are actually not bad last time I looked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the thing with Liverpool. With Man United, I think I'm just going to keep Bruno. I cannot get myself to sell him, so I'm just going to keep him. And also the hope is that when Pogba is back, our attack will be better and it might have a ripple effect. So That's what I'm holding out for with Bruno.
For Bruno.
He did badly in the double game week, but before the double game week, both of them, I think, had relatively good records, like in the last 4 to 5 weeks. So there's that as well. But then again, it's not just them being poor. Both Man United and Liverpool were atrocious in the double game week. So I can see why people want to sell them.
Is there a danger, and I'm going to pose this to both of you, is there a danger that Klopp decides to focus purely and solely on the Champions League?
I think so. I genuinely think. I think what we're going to see is some teams going onto the beach quite early. I think we're going to see teams in sort of like from 10 to about 3 or 4, changing their priorities. So yeah, I think it's entirely possible. What's the point of just trying to? He obviously wants to finish in the top 4, though, doesn't he? So he wants Champions League football. That's the only thing at the moment. He might not even get that. So, but it is possible.
Because I've seen.
Definitely.
I've looked at the table, and Villa, if I'm not mistaken, have 2 games in hand. They win those 2 games, right? I mean, Liverpool are dropping to 9th in the table. I mean that's the reality of it. And if Klopp decides to focus on winning the Champions League to get into the Champions League the following season, it could be that Mo Salah rest on the weekend instead.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
Someone's delivery.
Nah, don't worry. I think it's just sort of probably the wife. She's shopping again as usual. Shopping. I'll tell you who else you want to be considering. Let's not write off Aubameyang, okay?
Yeah.
Let's not write off Aubameyang. They've got some good fixtures coming up. I know we're going to have loads of cash and we don't need to spend it. It's not about price, it's about points. So Saka, Aubameyang, Jota, Grealish, Lingard. There's tons of options in there at the moment who potentially could score as well, if not better, than Mo Salah. So no, I think I really think that it's very possible that we could be losing one or even both of those players going forwards.
I can't get off this topic without talking about Gareth Bale. Now, you mentioned him briefly there, Mariner. Gareth Bale, Sam, I'm going to come to you about this. Looked an absolute world-class player, the world-class player that we know he is in that match against Burnley. And then we're expecting a repeat of that, because then there would have been a surge of purchases of Gareth Bale in the FPL market. However, it didn't really go to plan against Fulham, and he went back to his old kind of self, where you're just like, not too sure if I want to spend 9 million plus on him. What's your take on him? Is he someone that we should be looking at, or do we stick to what we know and what we trust, and that being Kane and Son?
I mean, right at this stage, my opinion on Bale is keep an eye out for him. I wouldn't buy him because I won't have a slot for him, but for me, right, in 29, I cannot get Kane, so Bale's not the worst option. Also, since I think the West Ham game or the game before, he's looked really good. The two Europa League games, I think, as well. So he's on a good run, and so is Dele Alli, kind of. So I'm not sure Mourinho will play those two regularly. So that's another thing to look at. I'm pretty sure Kane will play, Son will play, but I cannot say the same for Bale and Ali, because there's Lucas Moura, there's Eric Lamela, there's Steven Bergwijn, and Mourinho plays those 3 a lot, even though they're not very good. So that's another thing to consider. But for now, keep an eye out for him. And who knows? Because what's his price again? 7 million, 8 million bracket, right? So that's a good.
Gareth Bale.
That's actually a pretty good. Yeah.
Gareth Bale's in the 9.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gareth Bale's in the 9 million.
Just wait.
High price, that's it. As we probably can expect, given his FPL history. But boys, time to get off. It's that time where we need to see who the best person to captain for the upcoming game week is. A quick reminder, guys, if you are watching, thank you for joining the stream. Please leave your questions in the comments section below. We will get to that straight after the captain metric topic. You've got about 1.5 hours left to go before you make your final transfers and captaincy options. So this, I think, is something that you probably will want to switch on to. Mariner, take it away. Best captain option for game week 27.
Okay, well, the metric, which I've got on, if you want to share it, Craig, basically picks out any Manchester City asset.
That easy, yeah? I mean, it's what we probably expected.
It's really easy. It's really easy. I reckon if I put 10 down, there'll be 10 there before the next person. I genuinely do. I saw FPL numbers, his algorithm, and I always compare that, and he has 10 there.
Yes.
If we just look down them, I've allocated 1.3 as a 1.33 as a multiplier. So not big. I'm only expecting to play 1.3 games.
Yeah, which is
okay.
Fair.
1 1/3 games is what I'm looking at, and even then, Gundogan still tops the metric by some distance. And realistically, you may think that Gundogan may play a little bit more than some of the other players, given the fact that he's being rested. So I think that the metric is probably at this moment, I think it's right with respect to the order, roughly. But yeah, I mean, Diaz is not a bad shout. A defensive option is not a bad shout. Cancelo scores the same points as Diaz. And interestingly enough, and it's a bit of a statistical anomaly, but if I was to put Edison in, he'd be higher than both of them. And the reason for that is because he's had an assist and he doesn't rotate.
Yeah.
So he gets more clean sheets. So, but I wouldn't recommend Captain Edison because his ceiling's not that high. But look, I think, you're looking at probably Gundogan, you've got some, then you're into the world of rotation. And this metric does not take into account rotation. So we cannot second guess what he's going to do. Right? So we have to go with our feel. I would have said Mahrez would have been an outside shout for a captaincy. He was getting very central. And he seems to be in form. He's getting into some good positions. Is he going to play? Sterling, how long can Sterling go without getting a haul? How the ball doesn't go in the net as a former triple captain, I do not know. But is he going to play? So these are the challenges. So look, it's very straightforward. City, right? Then we're at the next level. Now you've got Salah, who's not ranked very highly now, but is still there. Antonio is where it starts to get interesting for me. Antonio against Leeds potentially is an outside shout. But look how far down Son and Kane are. They are miles down. So their numbers are still not liked by the metric. So whilst we're saying about Liverpool, about Spurs looking really good against Burnley, they looked good against Burnley because of the way Burnley set up against them. Right?
I mean, I will say, watching the Spurs match, it wasn't for a lack of creating chances. I mean, as I mentioned off air, Kane missed 2 sitters, and I think that metric goes completely the other way.
Against Fulham.
Against Fulham, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the point is, this looks over 6 games, Craig, and they're just not at the races. It's going to take a few weeks for the metric. Sometimes takes some time to catch up, and I think this is where it is at the moment. But look, Sean Dyche thinks he's managing Barcelona. He isn't. He's managing Burnley. Okay, his fullbacks were like bloody Jordi Alba tearing down the bloody wing. There was such a huge hole.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
It was Gareth Bale. I think it was for Kane's goal that
they went straight into those holes. In fact, I've got the slide somewhere. I'll try and find the slide of the heat maps. It's crazy. Loughton was playing so far forward, it was ridiculous. And that's why your outside shout this week, he's not on there because he's been missing. He plays like Aubameyang, because you never know. Aubameyang could have a good week this week against Burnley. I'm going to watch this game. I'm going to watch that game tonight. Be very interested to see how Dyche sets up I think he's after 2 wins and get on the beach and go play Lucky Lively with a packet of crisps. That's what he wants to do.
Okay.
So that's the metric. So that's where I think it's going.
So City asset, just to clarify, City asset could be anyone for all we know, but Gundogan top, obviously. A defense option is not a bad shout in Diaz or Edison.
No, probably Cancelo. Diaz or
Cancelo
for me. I wouldn't. Okay. I mean, Edison would top the metric with respect to the defenders, but he's got too low a ceiling, and he's not going to get. I don't think he's going to get many save points, which is the problem. Whereas, of course, Cancelo is flattering to deceive, and Diaz is probably Mr. Consistent.
Okay, Sam. Going to come to you when looking at this. We know you obviously have assets such as what's his name, Bruno, Salah, Kane, and Gundogan as well. Where are you leaning towards for your game week 27 captain?
For game week 27, keep it simple. Captain the double game week player, Gundogan. That's it. Done.
That's it. End of story. No thinking about it.
No.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to think about it.
Short and sharp. I like it. Mariner, before we leave this and get into the questions from the community, do we have the cat pick from Oliver?
We do. 1 second. So this is the poll which we put out. But, I may as well just very quickly talk about the community poll and the reason why we come up with these numbers. We put out, first of all, City defender. Tell us which one. They came up with Diaz. We put a list of City attacking players. They came up with Gundogan and KDB at the top. And we put a list of non-double game weekers out, and Kane came at the top. So that's why the 4 are there. And Gundogan topped the poll with 47%. KDB 18, Kane 21, Diaz 13. So we gave the cat 3 choices. And let's see what happens. I think he's getting really hungry, bad looks things this time.
How long do you know starving for before you do this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He changed his mind. Yeah.
That was a late switch there. Harry Kane.
Yeah. So there we go. So
he's gone against the double game week.
He has, and I did let this slip last night. The one who he sniffed and turned his nose up at was Gundogan.
Oh, so I don't know what to say. Speechless, really. So it goes back to: do we trust the cat or not?
Don't trust him. Don't trust that 4-legged idiot.
Trust the cat or the stat. I like that.
Don't trust that four-legged idiot. He's got it wrong the last 2 weeks. Ignore him. Troll of the week.
So go against Oliver at your own peril. But
I am.
The cat pick was Harry Kane. The poll says Gundogan, as do the stats and the metric. So double game week options are always that much easier, as Sam mentioned. It's time now for questions from the community. This is where we answer all questions that get posted on the comment section to our right-hand side. So again, thank you all for watching this stream. You got just about, under an hour and a half to make your decisions. Good evening, everyone. And Hadi Rahin, just a little bit of feedback from his game week 26. Triple captain Fernandes, worst decision ever. Yes, I don't think that was ever going to be a good one, if you ask me personally, but unlucky there. Vince is asking, where's Joe the legend? Joe, unfortunately, has some things he has to do, so he is unable to make it, but I'm sure knowing Joe, he'll be watching somewhere. Good evening, Swang. And yes, Joe, you could say failed his fitness test. Vincent, how's it going? Great to join the weekly live stream again. Yep, we thoroughly enjoy putting this on for you. We look forward to it. And again, thank you for your support. Astralicious, as always, how are you doing? First question is from the Emerald Pilot. Good morning. Do you think it's worth to sell Bruno for Son for a -4 hit? Now, this is something we just discussed in the stream. Do we, is it time to get rid of Bruno Fernandes or Mo Salah? Mariner, you did say that, if there was one out of the two that you're thinking of taking out, it would be Mo Salah. But what about this? Would you take Bruno out for Son for a -4?
I don't think I'd be too objectionable about it. I think it's an upside move. I think it's possibly an upside move. It's a little bit tight because you're taking a hit for it. But I still think that, Son's got a game in 29. He's got a good fixture in 30 as well. If you look at it over the course of the next few games, I expect them to do something against Arsenal as well. When will they not do? It's going to be, could be an interesting affair. So I don't think that'll be too bad. Sam, what's your perspective?
I'm 50-50 on this. Like, you can make a strong case. Yeah.
I'm maybe 60-40. I'm maybe 60-40. I wouldn't say I'm more than that because, again, the hit is a slight problem for me. But I think if you look at it over the course of the next few weeks, then it could well pay itself off, I would say.
I mean, the game in 29 is kind of a huge decider if you're not free hitting that week. Like, you also bring, you know what I mean?
I don't know, he's got a game, hasn't he? At the end of the day, he's still playing, and he's got a good fixture in 30. And what's Bruno's fixtures like? I've not got them in front of me, but they're not great, are they?
Not very good. Not very good.
No. I'm sort of like 60-40. I think, look, if you're chasing it by, you may want to consider this. Obviously, the risk is that if Bruno turns up in any one of these games to come, it could be a problem. Is he playing West Ham next week?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
he might be quite highly captained next week. I think that's probably one of the dangers.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, Son's not the worst option, Emerald Pilot, but do factor in. Can you go without Bruno?
And how much value have you got in? Do you want to buy him back? Have you got your wild card? If you've got your wild card, you may want to buy him back in. That's easier. Whereas somebody like myself, if I take him out, I may well be without him for the rest of the season.
Okay. Next question is from Hadi Rahin. Is Mount up for consideration? Mason Mount, you're putting in the numbers in, gets the minutes, and Chelsea are playing fairly well. How does he rank for you guys? Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say so. I think he's. I said I'm going to start a new FPL Operation Mount Rudiger.
Okay, interesting.
They are two players who are firmly on my radar for game week 30 beyond.
Okay. Vincent asks, Bruno, Salah, Son, Gundogan, Lingard, Kane, Watkins, Bamford. Need to bench one, need to captain one, who respectively?
This again.
I hate these questions. This is why
do you have such a good team? Why do you have such a good team?
Bruno, Salah, Son, Gundogan, Kane, Watkins, Bamford. Holy crap!
Watkins. Fine.
So Bruno's obviously against City. Salah is against Fulham. Son is against Palace. Gundogan obviously has a double game week, so I think we're going to rule him out straight away because he definitely needs to play. Lingard is who have West Ham got?
Leeds.
West Ham. Lingard's got Leeds. Kane Palace. Ollie Watkins Villa has Wolves. And Bamford West Ham. So need to bench one and need to captain one, who respectively. Okay, the captain one I think is easy.
We know. We've said the captain.
Captain will be good. The one. Who do you bench out of the rest of them?
Shit, it's going to be. This is a tough one. I would say Watkins because Grealish isn't back. It's Watkins or Bamford for me who'd be benched.
And Sam?
Yeah, I'll also say Watkins. Okay.
Bench Watkins, captain Gundogan. Easy, Vincent. Actually asked, do I play Bamford or DCL? Now, we did talk about DCL and his poor performance in the double game week. We talked about the tactical change Ancelotti has made at Everton over the last few weeks. DCL is playing more on the right-hand side of that attack, and Richarlison through the middle. Does he play Bamford or DCL?
Well, 100% Bamford. Bamford.
No objection.
I play Bamford.
No objection.
They have got a horrible. DCL has a horrible fixture against Chelsea.
It's not even. It shouldn't even be a question.
Horrible fixture against Chelsea. He's out on the right of the diamond. He's got a tough fixture against Chelsea and looking really solid at the back. I would go Bamford every day of the week. I've just sold DCL. That's my personal perspective, anyway.
Okay.
Do you agree with me, Sam, or not?
Yeah, I said no objections earlier.
Well, I think he's made the same move as you as well, hasn't he? He's sold DCL for Antonio. So I kind of figured where you both would go with this question. So who else we got? Just scrolling through. Will Everton versus Villa happen again week 28? Any thoughts? We know the answer to this. There have been no official announcements made so far.
Check 1 minute after the deadline.
They reckon
Check 1 minute after the deadline.
We can only refer to the guru that's Ben Krellin here, because there's no point us pretending to be Ben, because we're not Ben. He's suggested that if it's not called by Wednesday, it won't happen, and he thinks it's less than 10% chance of it happening.
Okay, so don't prepare.
I've gambled. I've gambled that it's not going to happen. I've took. That's my gamble. That's why I've gone with Antonio.
Okay, great stuff. Fuzzy asked, would you bench Bamford for Bertrand Traore from Villa? He really doesn't like Bamford, does he? He just asked.
Sell him.
Would you bench Bamford for Bertrand Traore? No,
I wouldn't. Bamford's on penalties. Bamford's on penalties, right? I mean, I've got a real benching nightmare on my hands, because I've got Bamford and Rafinha, and one's going to have to sit on the bench. So I'm going with a shield pick. I'm picking Bamford. I'm going to hope that Rafinha doesn't go crazy, because I want to defend my rank. Whereas if somebody's looking the other way, you might want to attack the game week. So no, I wouldn't bench Bamford.
Okay. Back to the City questions. Ali Sufyan asks, hi, reckon KDB to start both games in 27? Now, he did just last week. He started both games for Man City. Can you see the same thing happening this week? Or is that Pep roulette going to roll?
He might well do, but if they get 2-0 up at half-time against Southampton, he's probably coming off. That's my perspective. I can't see him playing 2 90s, but he could easily start both. I mean, again, Sam, we're guessing.
It's hard to guess Pep Guardiola, so yeah. I don't know. Because he just came back, I'm tempted to think he'll be rested for one. I think he'll play the derby because that's a crucial match. But Southampton, he could get a rest. Also because they have a Champions League game in about a week or so. So yeah.
Well, I mean, that would be, if he does start both, it'd be 4 games in 7 days. Or almost 7 days. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of games. So for someone coming back from injury as well. So we've got to factor that. So we don't think he's going to start both games, do we? Or if he does, he's not going to.
I mean, even like City without Kevin De Bruyne is actually in a much better shape than last season. So Pep can actually afford to rest him as well. That's something we have to take into account.
Okay. Astralicia Simeone asked, the shoulder injury on Rashford makes me want to remove Bruno for Oba. What do you think? Now, Marina, I know you like this Oba move a lot, but would you take Bruno out for Oba?
So I'd like it a lot. I think it's an interesting move. I don't know that I like it a lot. I think I'd be happier to see how he does in the next game or two to be absolutely certain I want to move for. But I think I would probably, I might hold for now. I just think that it's a lot of money to spend, and I think we might want to decide which Arsenal player we want to go for. I think it might be a good way of just taking a bit of a look at them now Auba's back, deciding, 'cause I mean, even Lacazette's another option, right? But I mean, we don't know who's going to start in that 9, so it's difficult. So I think what we do is we probably watch and wait for now, because for me, I could spend 1 point whatever on Saka, or 11 points something on Auba, and I might get the same points.
Sam?
Well, adding on to that, I think they have a Europa League game midweek as well, so there might be some rotation there. Because I remember Arsenal rotating last week, so they might do it again and then field their first 11 in the Europa League.
All right, and following on from that, sorry, got that question out. Just in answer to Ali Sufyan's KDB, this is really, can he really reckon anything with Pep, especially when he says that everybody is fit? Yes, you can never really trust Pep in his press conferences, can you? Scrolling through. Thought I saw one up here. Oh, yeah, there we go. Virgil van Dijk, start Rafinha or Bruno? Friend in the mini league is benching Bruno and playing Rafinha too. Does he go for it? Does he go for it and be different or not?
I mean, look, mini league now, we've got another 10 weeks to go, right? Or however many weeks, 11 weeks, 11 more game weeks to go. Is it going to kill you? You could do. I don't know. I wouldn't. This is my mantra here is, if you're going to bench Bruno, sell him. I wouldn't leave that amount of money on the bench. That's my perspective. I would just I would get rid of him. I would just get rid of him and bring someone else in.
Sam?
And so here's the thing, right? If Rafinha had something like West Brom at home, I'd say, yeah, why not? But West Ham isn't actually an easy fixture.
Yeah,
they're fourth in the league and they actually have a pretty good defense. So maybe not just play Bruno, but neither have easy games. So just play the one with the high ownership and the one on penalties.
Okay. Vincent asks, only for this week, a 1-week punt, play Bruno or Lingard. Quick fire this.
Everybody's benching Bruno.
I don't know. It's so difficult because the thing is, you can see.
I'm not going to lie. He was on the bench for me.
I'm going to say play Bruno. That's me. I'm going to stick with my guns. Play him or sell him.
Sam?
You already know my answer, mate. Play Bruno Fernandes.
Play Bruno Fernandes despite his horrid run of form. Another 1-week punt question.
That's going to come back and bite us on the balls, that one. I've just
massively. That's when we get all the complaints coming in. Cavani to Iheanacho, 1-week punt. Yes or no, boys?
No. Not for me.
No.
Okay, no all round. Adding to that, start 2 defenders, Sanchez, Pereira, Rudiger, Digne. I think Sanchez is Davison Sanchez from Spurs.
Yeah, should be. So
Sanchez,
he definitely starts.
I mean, if he plays, is he going to play? Because I'll be honest with you, if I could figure out which Spurs defender was going to play, I would have a Spurs defender now.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been Davinson Sanchez and Alderweireld over the last few games, but Dyer could easily come back into that.
I would go on the basis of him playing if he's been. Let's assume that he's going to start. So if we assume they were all going to start, you would go Sanchez and Rudiger.
Sanchez and Rudiger. Okay,
that's mine.
And yourself, Sam?
So Sanchez is definitely the one outside. Another one, I'm not too sure. I'm tempted to go Pereira because Brighton do not score, but Chelsea's defensive record is actually one of the best in the league. So
tough match though. It's a tough fixture, I'd say.
That's the thing. Rudiger and Digne, I'm not sure. I think it'll be like a 1-1 or something. So I'm not sure. I'll probably start Sanchez and Pereira. I'll probably start Sanchez.
I think Chelsea will beat them.
Sorry?
I think Chelsea will beat them.
Yeah, but did Chelsea keep a clean sheet though?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. You got Richarlison on massive form right now, so
he's a troll. Troll.
Swang, how you doing, mate? He says start Schmeichel or Martinez.
That shouldn't be a question, Swang. Never ever drop Martinez from now on, ever. Just don't do it. It's hurt me too many times. I wouldn't drop him.
So play Martinez for you, Mariner. And Sam?
Play Martinez. Why would you bet Martinez?
Okay, play Martinez. Start Dunk or play Watkins. There's 3 squares in the middle. I don't know what signs those were.
I know what that means. That means Lee Mason. That is roughly translated as Lee Mason.
He's a bit of a square, isn't he?
Because of the disallowed goal. I think, look, Swang is still spitting fire about that. I think he's well pissed off about it. And rightly so. Rightly so, because, yeah, absolutely. I think it's Brighton have got brilliant matchups for the next 4 game weeks defensively. Okay. So I would go Dunk here.
Okay, so play Dunk. Was that play Dunk, yeah, Mariner? Sorry?
Yes. Start
Dunk. And Sam?
I'll say flip a coin.
Okay. Flip a coin and decide. Easy.
Lee Mason's not reffing him, is he, this week? Let's just hope Dunk gets something. I mean, he's been so unlucky. His numbers are great. I've already started prepping to do something on 29 defense next week with Gabe, and I'll tell you now, Dunk is a really, really interesting asset.
Just on Dunk, like, where did he start taking free kicks from? I mean, where has that ever been a thing?
He took one last year, I think, against Liverpool. Similar kind of one, a quick one.
One last year, did you say?
Last season. Yeah. That's what I can remember.
Ali Sophia, best swap for Barnes. JWP, Lingard, Saka, Neto, Traore, Tielemans.
Jesse Lingard. If you have a cover for 28, there's a caveat.
I think long term, Saka. If you're looking at getting someone and holding them, Saka.
San, you said Lingard, yeah?
Yeah. If you have a cover for 28, I think that's a key part here because he's not eligible to face Man United.
Very good point.
Do you like this? Bruno to Oba. I think we said that.
Maybe in 29. Maybe in 29. Yes.
Sorry. It did come up.
It's all right, no worries.
This is from Bungle. Who would you consider as a cheeky, little, nothing to lose, short-term differential in game week 29 if planning to smash the wildcard button in 30 to 31? Thinking low-owned and a bit of fun to watch. I think this is something that we'll cover maybe in a couple of weeks' time. In 29, but who? Just off the top of your head, boys.
In 29.
Yeah.
In game week 29. Hang on, I'm looking. I'm trying to get the fixtures up.
Sorry, Sam.
I think I've took my screen share off. Let me just put my screen back on, Craig.
Yeah.
Have you got it?
Yep.
Right. Check the question off.
Yeah.
Right. So 29. These are the matchups. So attack and defense. So we're talking who's got good matchups here. Arsenal, not necessarily. Villa defensively, not too bad. Brighton look very good for 29. Hardly difficult because they're playing Newcastle. Leeds are playing Fulham. That is not a great matchup. Newcastle, forget them. They're crap. Spurs against Villa and West Ham against Leeds. Lowly owned.
West Ham against Arsenal.
West in 29. Sorry, West Ham against Arsenal. Lowly owned. If you're going to lose, tough. I was going to say Cresswell, but he's not lowly owned, is he?
I was gonna say Veltman from Brighton, 4.3 million.
Yeah, he's because Lamptey's out for the season, isn't he? Now they think.
Is he?
That's apparently so. He's out for the season. Well, it's hardly surprising. He's made it blast. So that's not a bad shout, actually, Sam. That's not a bad shout.
I mean, I've seen the positions he gets in, Veltman, and I think he scored the other week as well. He really gets into that box, doesn't he? And he's not a bad player. He comes with good pedigree. I think he came from Ajax. He's a senior player. He's not a young kid. I think he's about 28, 29 as well.
It's good. Lowly owned. If you want a 1 week punt, lowly owned, you're going to go up very high.
Yeah. I can't imagine he's too heavily owned either.
I think Sam's call's actually not bad. I mean, I didn't think of that because I'm probably going to be owning Dunk by then. So,
okay.
But yeah, that's not a bad shout.
So Veltman, Bungle, if you're still on here, that would be the thing. But do remember, there are a few game weeks to go before we get to that stage.
I'll be updating this fixture difficulty every week now, all the way to 29. So we'll see how.
Tune in to Mariner's show.
The other thing, Craig, I'll mention, and I think it's always worth. If you look at the right-hand side of this thing, you'll see the form. And this is their last 6 games against the season. So, look, you can see Villa are struggling at this moment without Grealish. If Grealish comes back, that's going to change. Fulham, look, doing well defensively. Spurs at the moment down on where they were. So, just look how much green there is for defence against attack. I think it's a defensive. I think you're looking at defensive punts, I think.
Okay. Well, moving on from this, guys. Let me just get that question off. Devendra Raj, if I am to do Bruno to KDB, I need to sacrifice Cancelo or Stones to Rudiger for -4. Cancelo or Stones could end up with 12 points, 2 clean sheets. And to cover the -4, KDB might need to haul max to make it worthwhile. Is this something you'd consider? One of the things that pops up straight to me is the fact that will either one play both games to cover those hits? And that is something that we just experienced. We just come on the back of a double game week where Stones, despite a goal and despite getting a really good score, didn't play the next one. So you just never know.
Yeah, it's tough. Super tough. Is it worth? Again, can we second guess it? If you're going to take a City defender out, I've actually been thinking about this. If I was to take a City defender out, which one would it be? Because I've got Cancelo and Stones, and I was thinking, is Stones now more of a rotation risk than Cancelo? But no, I don't think he is. I think they're both equally risky. I can't work it out. I think it's a gamble. I mean, any -4 to bring in to swap City players around is always going to be a gamble. Sam?
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves is actually getting rid of a good double game week player. So I'm gonna say no on this one. Just keep who you have, and if they play one, they play one. If they play both, they play both.
I mean, KDB is an upside chasing move this week.
But if you get the captain KDB,
to bring in someone like Bailey, like for example, my wife's got Bale, Son, and Kane in her team now. She's just gone for it. So if you are prepared to have a bit of an upside chase and fancy it, by all means, go for it. But is he gonna captain KDB? Because if he is, if he's doing this move, he needs to.
Yeah, if he captains KDB, the argument changes completely.
Yeah.
Okay, so captain KDB if you are going to do this or make this move, but just be careful about that, and whether he plays both games is still remains to be seen. Obviously, Oscar Bruno to how many times is this? Come on, Jesus. Bruno to Omar for -4 to get ready for game week 29. I'm going to wildcard on game week 30 to 31 as well. Boys, I'm going to leave this one with you while I scroll through and look for the next over or non-over question.
If if Sean Dyche is having a pint and a packet of crisps now, playing like he's been doing in his press conferences, and plays exactly the same against Arsenal as he did against Spurs, yes, do it. But I don't know that he's going to. Because I tell you what, they were awful. So if they carry on playing the way, Arsenal could absolutely destroy them. Absolutely destroy them. It's his call. Does he think it's going to happen, or does he think Dyche has frightened himself to death, and he's going to go back into his hole?
Rod AM says, do you think Region is a rotation risk? Mourinho tends to play him in easier games and use Davies in tougher games. Boys, what are your thoughts on this? I think Region's right up there in terms of best left backs in the league. He's a really good player, but is he a rotation risk?
He didn't play in midweek. I would have brought him in if he hadn't have been rested. If he hadn't been rotated, rested, stroke, whatever in midweek, Region would probably be in my side now instead of Son. Because I fancied him for a clean sheet. Because, as I say, clean sheet against Palace at the moment without Zaha's more likely as death and taxes, in my view.
Sam?
So what I was saying earlier is right. He shouldn't be a rotation risk, given Davis is not very good, Region's really good, but it is.
He is, yeah.
So the thing is, right, if he plays, he's got a chance of a clean sheet, and his delivery is really good. So you could get a double-digit haul for him. So I don't know. Maybe.
Would you gamble on this?
So there's a chance Region plays the Premier League games and Davis plays a Europa League game. So I'm not sure. So wait 1 week. That's I can say. Wait 1 week, see how it goes in the Europa League, and then we'll see. It's kind of hard to judge.
I just think they're okay defensively, but are they going to keep a clean sheet against Arsenal? Maybe not. Are they going to keep a clean sheet against Villa? Maybe not. Are they going to keep a clean sheet against Palace? Probably. The trouble is, who is going to play against Palace? That's my problem. So if I was going to go, I would go this week or not at all.
Okay. Cheryl asks, I think Stones and Gundogan will play against Man U, and Cancelo play against Saints. Does Cancelo's a better captain pick than Stone and Gundogan, you reckon?
Anyone got a coin?
Flip a coin?
We can't answer that question. We can't answer it. I mean, you could argue, I mean, Cancelo, when did Cancelo last rest? Because he only played 1 game in 2 in this game week.
Yeah.
Just gone, didn't he? So is he going to rest again? I'm not so sure he is. With Stone it's a
similar situation to Gundogan.
Second game, played and scored in the first game. Yeah. But now there's Laporte back. So is this going to be more of a, more frequent change? Gundogan only played 15 minutes in the second game, but didn't play in the first.
KDB played, quite.
KDB played both games.
Yeah, both games, yeah. So,
I mean, look,
the coin. We'll leave it at that.
The reason I am not, I own Cancelo, and there was a discussion in the week on one of my group chats about captaining Cancelo, and the decision that the gang in that hall came up with is that he is too much of a rotation risk to captain.
Okay.
That would be my perspective. I think, Diaz is probably, if you're going to go for a captaincy option for a City, I think you go Diaz. In defence, I should say.
Yeah. Sam, agree, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Mark, I don't rate Lee's chances against West Ham, but I have to play one. Do I play Bamford, Rafinha, or Dallas? I love these questions. I love them.
I've got a question. I can give you the answer. I can give you the answer. You will play either Bamford or you will play Rafinha, and you will play Bamford if you are looking to protect rank, and you will play Rafinha if you're trying to attack rank.
There you go. What? That's a great answer. Great answer. Sam, no?
Sam?
I mean,
you there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. No, I'm just, there's really nothing to add, is there? Marina summed it up perfectly there. So,
okay. Devendra, Watkins, Bruno, Bamford, Grealish, which three to play? Surprised there. I don't know why Grealish is there because he's not going to be available this week. So there's your answer right there.
Yeah, the press conference.
Sorry, I think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake. Yeah, because
there we go.
Yeah,
oh God, Bruno's in again. Now it's a more difficult question for.
Yeah,
bloody hell.
I never said it was going to be easy, Marina.
What did we say earlier on in the show? We've had this question before. I'm starting Bruno. The same answer for Bamford and Rafinha, and I may play them both over what?
Okay, so I think the tough one on this is obviously Bruno starts.
Yes.
But which other two follow? Do you go double up on Leeds, or do you play Watkins, who doesn't have Grealish?
Does he own a West Ham defender? That's another question. I don't like playing players against each other, so I think Watkins could have a tough week against Wolves, given that Grealish is not available. Villa's attacking prowess has dropped since Grealish has not been. Watkins is not a creator; he's a finisher. If nobody's creating for him, he's not going to get much, right? That's my perspective.
One thing I will say is that I'm actually quite surprised Dean Smith has decided to drop Ross Barkley whilst Jack Grealish is out of the squad. I find that quite amazing in terms of attack in an attacking sense.
He's maybe the leak. It could be him.
Right, you never know.
He's in a fantasy world. Barkley's in a fantasy world. That's his fault.
Okay, so Devendra, it really depends on obviously who you have. If you have a Wolves defender, don't play Watkins. Double up on Leeds. Bruno is a certainty. Start him. Nurjahan asks Bruno to Aubameyang for Bayern. I'm not even going to bother.
Why do we put these questions up?
Yeah, we've had the same question for about 4 times. So, 6 times, whatever it is. Nurjahan, you just have to scroll back and find the answer to that one. Sorry, I just kind of dragged it a little bit. What do I bench Bale or DCL?
1,000% DCL. If you own Bale, play him.
At 9 million, you got to play him, right?
I'd even captain him. I'd even contemplate captaining him if I owned him. Honestly, I would, because he could be an absolute. He could, if he goes crazy, it could be amazing, right? The risk is how's Hodgson going to turn up? Is the crafty old man going to turn up and shut up shop?
Yeah.
Is he going to be able to shut up shop? Tough question.
Boys, you're going to love the next question. I kid you not. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
No.
Bench one of Watkins, Rafinha, Bamford. I'm going to write this. Sheila, do scroll back. We have kind of answered this. It's dependent on who you have. We do feel that Grealish, with no Grealish.
To be honest, though, this is just the same question as well. Everybody has got a load of Leeds players. We've all got Leeds players waiting to come in 29. And we're going, do we need to play them away against West Ham? You know, I've got Watkins playing Wolves, and who do I play? I made a move. I took Barnes out and brought Son in, and took DCL out and bought Antonio, and then looked at it and I thought, shit, I've got 8 players now. Who do I drop? We all do it. We're all in the same. We're all planning for 29, and then we're forgetting what's right in front of our nose.
Yeah. Back to the normal questions and the tough ones. I've no players in the first 2 matches today. Tempted to buy Tierney to cover. Anyone ever feel weird when you have no players in the first game? I'm going to answer this just from my point of view, but I actually love it when I don't have players in the first game, because I hate captaining players in the first game of the game week. especially if it's an early kickoff. I hate early kickoffs.
Just as a matter of interest, if we just everyone in the comments now, tell me how many players you've got playing today. Honestly, tell me how many players you've got playing today, and just look in 2 minutes, Craig, and see the numbers. I am going to guess the average is 1.5. There's hardly any assets out the template playing today. Hardly any.
Okay.
I've got one player, Martinez. That's it.
That's it.
One.
Okay.
Here we go. 4, 2. Here we go.
Back to the important question. Back to the important question. Do you feel weird if you have no players in the first game?
No, but I would consider bringing Tierney in because I think he's a long-term hold, and Gabe's brought Tierney in, I think. So if Lenz has moved for Tierney, then I think that's an interesting move. I wouldn't be objectionable about bringing Tierney in at all.
Okay. Urban Infinity, no clue what to do for a Barnes replacement. Lingard was my initial preference, but he won't play in 28 because it's United. Correct. Barnes and DCL for Antonio and Bale for a -4 is an option as well. Let's take this one at a time, guys. Who would you recommend for him to bring a like for like? So for Barnes, who would you suggest? And as a second question to this, would you do a -4 for Bale?
I don't know if he owns Son. If he doesn't own Son, I would go Son over Bale. I had that same dilemma myself today, and I went with the security of minutes and fitness. To be honest with you, but Bale is a very, very interesting option. And let's face it, if you're going to go for Bale, you're going to go now. You have to.
Okay.
So, the other question. So Barnes, DCL to Antonio. I've already made that move.
Yeah. Okay. And with you, Sam?
I mean, Lingard shouldn't be a problem as long as you have somebody on the bench who can cover. Yeah, as I said earlier.
And we may all, I think a lot of us have got quite strong benches at the moment, probably too strong bench. I can't weaken my bench until after 29. I've got to leave.
I can't wait to wildcard. I can't wait to wildcard and get all those 20 off the bench.
You've got that. I've got no chips. It's the most liberating thing ever. I love it. No chips. Just go to the end of the season.
I still got the triple captain to play, so
get rid of it. Get rid of it.
So, who are you gonna pick if you had to have a Barnes replacement, Sam? Quick.
I'll say Lingard. Just go for it.
Okay.
If I would go to Son rather than Bale.
All right. Let's try zoom through these guys. A little bit longer than we expected. Ali Sufyan, play Saka or Rafinha?
Saka.
I just have a funny feeling that Burnley could get blasted tonight. If he turns up the way he is, they could get blasted tonight.
If they play Barcelona football. If
they try to Burnley owner or whatever.
Virgil van Dijk, Forster to start. I got him on my bench. Should I play him over Emi Martinez? I guess that is.
Hashtag
first question.
Hashtag ask Ralph, Virgil. I have no bloody idea.
I was a little bit surprised McCarthy got dropped. If I'm being perfectly honest.
I wouldn't play anyone over Martinez. First of all, you've got to risk, is he playing? And secondly, he has got a double game week, but his second one is against City, and it could be a negative score. Although it could save a penalty after all. Just be my look.
Okay.
If they get the penalty on target.
Yeah.
We need VAR there. The cat seems to have licked there. The middle, no VAR check. Mariners controlling everything from the VAR room. Craig Moraes, please look at this. I'm
afraid he's got to eat it, not lick it. That's the rules. The rules have been made very clear in the cat pick.
Well, I did have a zoom in, and I did look at it from multiple angles, and I did see there was actually no contact with the tongue and the treat. So we're good. We're good.
He had a good sniff, but he didn't.
Yeah. It was. I had to draw a few lines.
There was no crunch. There was no crunch. Remember, it's biscuits. You hear the crunch, right?
Yeah. Triple captain on Gundogan, guys. Would you or would you not?
I've heard worst calls. It's just this rotation risk. Again, if it was the Southampton game first, I would say definitely.
Yeah.
I think because it's the United game first, there might be better options. There's talk of more double game weeks, aren't there now? Because they're looking at moving the fixtures so that there's more fixtures with fans in the ground, and that's going to create more double game weeks at the end of the year. 35 and 36, they're talking about potentially a small blank and a double game week, just when the season didn't get any more blasted confusing. They're now doing this. So I think you might want to think about just maybe sit on your hands on that one.
Okay. Cheryl, best captain pick out Stones, Cancelo, and Gundogan for double game week 27. If you go back on the stream, we did this, covered it with the metric. We do feel that Gundogan followed by Cancelo is probably your best bets. No?
Stones is an interesting. It's very close. That between Gundo certainly, then Stones, Cancelo, Stones. That's close because I can't quite work out. I mean, look, if Stones keeps playing like Michael Owen, you know. Who knows what's going to happen, right?
Oh, God. Ali Sufyan, this is a little bit different from what we've been used to for today, but Bruno to KDB or Son?
If he needs players for 29, Son.
Sam, feel free to jump in, mate.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I don't really have an. If it is like one free transfer and you're going to captain KDB, yeah, why not?
Okay.
It depends. It really must depend on what his plan is for 29. Because if you need to build your team for 29, that's a no-brainer. It's Son. Whereas if you've got your free hit and you're going to use your free hit in 29, which is another question because I'm not sure it's even needed, then you may well go with KDB or equal if you want to take a hit.
Yeah, apparently Bruno's dropping in price tonight, by the way.
He was going to drop this morning. We were on stereo this morning, and we told someone, it might have been Bungle actually. We told somebody to move fast, and then they never moved again.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been like that with the price changes and all that. You know, when we've expected it to.
But no, it was we had a similar problem this month. But yes, he is due to drop and Son, I think, was due to go up. I think they were like that.
Okay, Mark, because we answered this question, is going to attack the game week and his league. So fair play, Mark. Wish you all the best with that.
He's got great stats, Rafinha. He's got great stats. I'm petrified, but he's not as highly owned, so I'm happy to leave him on the bench.
4 players for Vincent today, Mariner, in answer to your question. 2 for Sweng, 1 player for Navin. And yeah, those were the 3 that responded. I think I'm on 3 as well. I've got two Villa, 1 Arsenal. But I might not play my Villa defender because I've got Martinez in nets. So I'm still contemplating that. Got a bit of time. Remember, you've got less than 40 minutes to make your transfers and adjust your team. Last question for today goes to Vincent. 1 free transfer this week. Barnes to Lingard and start him, or roll the free transfer and play Watkins.
Bench strong, do the move. If his bench is strong, if you can get away with benching Lingard in 28, play him. Go for it.
I mean, it looks like he can. It looks like he can bench because he has Watkins who can come on. So yeah, why not? Bounce Lingard, play one of your bench players in 28.
Okay. Sweng says it's 36 minutes to go, just under 40 minutes, and he might just do this. Do an extra -4 now to bring in Antonio, which has been a popular move with you boys.
Antonio to score a header this week.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Sorry, Virgil van Dijk is coming with the last one. Start Watkins or Rafinha. I'm in my boys, gonna give it up to you again. We've had this quite a few times, but last question for today. So I'm gonna let this.
That is relatively straightforward. Sam?
Rafinha.
I agree.
Okay, Rafinha. There it is, boys. Thank you so much. It definitely did drag on longer than I would have liked it to, but such is the questions that come in. We got a last one. I've got to put this in there. Mounted for Fernandez by Swing. So he's making some big moves. With just
how many hits is that for him?
Sorry.
How many hits
I
has he
really
taken?
like Mason Mount, but I like Mason Mount more in game week 30 than I like him in 31. I think it's 30 or 31 than I do now. I think I keep Bruno.
Okay. Boys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time and giving the FPL community some of your wisdom ahead of game week 27. It's been as I said, it's been a longer show than expected. But it is a small, tiny double game week 27, so we had a little bit to cover. Mariner, thank you for coming on. I know you've had 3 shows in 24 hours. Don't know how you do it. Go and take a nice, well-deserved rest and plonk yourself in front of the TV and watch the football.
Netflix. I'm watching the Burnley game. Sod it. I'm not watching any more football till tomorrow.
Perfect. Sam, thank you so much for coming on. Pleasure to have you on as always. And I'm sure you're going to be featuring a lot more as the season goes on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on.
Yeah.
And thank you all. Sure. Whoa. What was that? Sorry.
No, I said that's it.
That's not. I thought
I think we just need to say good luck, everybody, and with those Bruno decisions, you've got 33 minutes now.
We need places to hide when we need.
I'm going to turn my Twitter off. No messages. No.
If you've got any questions, do direct them to Mariner. All to Mariner. Don't tag me in any.
I've just looked. There's tons of messages. It's a
there is. Okay. Yeah. I did forget to say, do follow the boys if you haven't already. It's at FPL Mariner, and it's at Samuel_DB_021. Sam, you got to change that. I'm not even kidding.
Mate, it's shorter than yours. Mate, it's actually shorter than yours.
Mine's just my name and 11 at the end. Easy.
15 characters to 13. 15 characters to 13. It's not that long.
Anyway, thank you to the FPL community for tuning in and watching the stream. We wish you all the best for game week 27. It's a small double game week. Don't forget, if you've got City assets, captain them. Don't be different. Don't go Kane or Son or anything like that. The metric says captain Gundogan, and all the best. May the FPL gods be with you for double game week 27. Thank you. Do give us a like. Do give us a subscribe if you're not already. Follow us on at FPL Expectations on Twitter. And do follow me at Craig Marias 11. Thank you and have a great weekend.